So let's continue on with getting input from users. So this is where it gets interesting because we're actually going to make things that prompt the user to do things. So how do we get input from someone? Well, we have to use the command input, open and close brackets. Okay? But let's also tell them what to input. We can say input, enter your name. Okay? And let's press play. It says here, enter your name. And I say Solon. Done. The code has finished because I've entered my name and I finished the code. We didn't really tell it to do anything with it. So how can we get the user to input his name as a specific variable and then get the computer to greet them with hello and that name? So let's think about it. This is a challenge for you. You can pause the video and do this. Let me repeat. We want the user to say, the program to say, okay, please enter your name, right? And then once the user enters his name, we want the program to finish by saying hello and their name. So pause it and try and run it. I'll give you the answer now. Well, the first thing we need to do is create, I gave you the hint, a variable. In this case, well, we can even name it user name. Whoops. And it's equal to the input, enter your name. So then what? Well, we print it. We print, first of all, hello with a space plus whatever the username is. Press play and it says enter your name, Solon, hello Solon. There we go. So let's make it more interesting. What if we say username is input, enter your name, and we also give it an age. So the age is equal to there we go, like that. Enter your age, and then it says hello user plus, send it, and I should go like you are plus the age, leave a little space here. Yep, that's fine. You are space years old. Okay. Now let's see. Let's put plus here. Let's play it. So enter your name, Solon. My age, 30. Hello, Solon. You're 30 years old. We can even put a exclamation point at the end. Perfect. Makes it a little bit more interesting. It's easy, right? All right, so let's try, because we have inputs, let's try building a basic calculator, huh? How do we do that? Well, we need to create two variables that the user stores, right? So we need a number, so we can name it num1. Let's go ahead and just hashtag these out so we don't have to input variables every time. So number 1 would be the first input by the user. So the first number we want him to input. So we can say here, enter a number. And Then the second variable would be number 2. Again, enter a number, and the result of this, we want it to be equal to num1 plus num2. We can even make it better if we say, okay, enter the first number of the addition calculation. Enter the second number of the addition calculation. Okay? Now, if we want to view the results, we have to print them. So, print result. Let's press play. So enter the first number. I want the number to be 135. The second number, 2. Didn't work, did it? Why? Why did it not work? Let's think back. Because what is it that we're asking the user to do here? We're asking it to input a string variable, right? So it's a string data type. So when you add a string to another string, it just adds those two together. So it adds 135, which is 135, and 2 as a text, as a plain text. If we wanted to have a calculation, we have to make it into an actual number. So whatever the user gives us, we have to make it into an integer. An integer means it transforms it into a number, a whole number to be exact. So if we try now, and we do the same thing, 135, and the second number is 2, gives us 137. So it works. Perfect. So will it work if I give it decimal points? 135.2 plus, nope. Why is that? Because integers need to be whole numbers. Int basically stands for integer, meaning the whole number. So it gives us an error when the number isn't whole. So how can we use integers? How can we resolve this? Well, we can use the command, instead of int, we can use the command float. A float allows us to have integers. Now, there are moments when you're coding where you're going to have to you want integers instead of floats, and you want to transform something into an integer by rounding it up because you want whole numbers. But floats allows you the possibility for things to become, have decimal points. So if we try this one now, and we go, okay, 135.5 plus 67 point blah, blah, blah. And there we go. The answer, it works. So how can we use, okay, this becomes a little bit more challenging. But how can we get the user to input the type of calculation he wants in the addition to the two numbers, and then return the result? This is going to be our challenge. If you want to pause the video and try and solve it, please do. It's actually really good. But let's try it. So we still have our two numbers. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna remove these things for now. But we still need two numbers, right? So we need two variables, and we can give him these things here. So let's try it out. Enter the first number. Enter the second number. Okay, so in that case, that's still the same. but there's still a calculation. How do we choose what calculation the user is going to be doing? Well, this is going to be a string, right? So let's put it down and input. And we say enter the type of calculation from plus, minus, division, or multiplication. Okay? So what would that give us? It means the user is going to input either this, or this, or this, or this. If he puts this, we want to add that number to that number. If he puts this, we want to get the first number subtracted from the second number. If he puts this, you get the first number divided by the second number, or this, multiply both numbers. If he does this or if he does that, how do we tell the computer that if this happens, then this happens? Well, we need what's called if statements. Now, we're going to learn about if statements in a bit, but just to write them down a little bit. So if calculation is equal to, well, let's start with multiplication. Okay. All right. Then the result is equal to float num1, right? So whatever the number is, multiplied by float of, whoops. Actually, you know what? Let's do them small. It's easier to write. So we'll change the variables here into small letters. Much easier to write. So the result is that. At the same time, else if, basically, and we'll copy that down. Calculation is, this case, division, float 1 divided by that. And we'll keep going. Elif, they need to be like that. To go, what if it's minus? So it's number 1 minus number 2. And if it's that and it's plus, then it's that plus that. And at the end of that, we need you to print the result. Okay, let's try it out. First number, well, let's actually make it nicer. First number is 35.5. Second number is 8. And I want it to be an addition. There we go, perfect. Let's run it again and test it with something else. 80, 10, and we want this to be a division. 8. So it works. It works perfectly. So that is the end of working with inputs for now. And we are going to move on to something a little bit more interesting.